welcome my friend, my brother, Mr. Blake Goad.
Check, check, check. Woo! How are y'all doing tonight? Awesome, awesome, awesome. I heard it was Josh's birthday yesterday. I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but I thought he was trying to be funny, but it was actually true. It was his birthday yesterday and Spencer's birthday today. It is awesome. Who knew two of the funniest people at G5 would be born back to back? It is awesome. Y'all having a good week? Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be at leadership. I'm not going to be that long tonight because I heard I get to bring up somebody very special and close to me. They may be related, and her name might be Bree Goad. So you get a special treat tonight, so I'm not going to be that long. But, of course, I have to start out with something funny. I always got to – do y'all like to have fun? I ask this every week, but do y'all every week, Lord, every month. Do y'all like to have fun? Okay, well, I got it. I love honesty, and I love it so much. And I love this. I saw this, and I had to read it. I thought it was funny. You ready? Josh, you'll find this funny, okay? You ready? So it says, "Hey, Dad, come pick me up from school. I'm suspended." The dad says, "What did you do this time?" The son says, "Nothing. My teacher asked me a simple question, and I gave a simple answer." The dad said, "What did she ask? What did you say? And you're grounded, by the way." The son said, "She said, I have 5 bottles in one hand and 6 bottles in the other." And he said, "What?" And she says, "What do I have?" And he said, "A drinking problem." And the dad says, "You're ungrounded for getting my smart aleck remarks." But how many know I love the honesty, but also the curiosity and the questions, right? And tonight, I'm excited because I'm going to talk about questions. And I've talked a lot about habits and a lot about questions. And tonight, I'm excited to talk about questions again because I really think the questions you ask can determine who you become. And it's funny, over the last, I'm not that old, but I'm not that young either. Over the last however long of my life, I've been to a lot of amazing events with my parents. And seeing the questions that people ask always was very interesting and curious to me. And, people would always ask, how to have a better family and how to have a better marriage and how do you manage your schedule and how do you not go insane with a crazy schedule and all this stuff. But one of the things that I've never really heard people ask, and I thought it was interesting, and this question stood out, and I thought about this the other day, is how do you ask better leadership questions? And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I've never actually heard somebody ask, how do I ask a better question? And I was sitting there thinking, wow, that's an amazing thing. And I just want to dive in tonight. There's 3 areas I want to cover, but I'm just going to focus on the first part. But the 3 areas I was going to cover between now and potentially the next leadership is why do I ask questions? How do you ask questions? And what do you want to know? And how many of you know in life, I love when technology works for the benefit of people. It's awesome. How many, but in life, it's too short to be shy, but it's also too expensive to be arrogant. Right? Now let that sit in a lid for a second. Life is too short to be shy, but also too expensive to be arrogant. At a very young age, my parents taught my sister and I the difference between being confident and being arrogant. And also asking questions that will help you grow. And so tonight, I just want to focus on the first area, and then I'm going to bring my sister up. But tonight, I want to focus on why do you ask questions? Now, I want you to put that on a sticky note and stick it on your mirror. Every day you wake up, I want you to look at it and go, okay, today, why am I asking questions? I love this. How many know the better... For y'all that don't know, I'm dyslexic. And I love writing notes down and misspelling words. It's genius. I love this. Your leadership potential will never exceed the quality of the questions you ask. But the quality of the questions you ask determine the quality of the answers you receive. That's genius. So the number one, I'm going to give you 3 points under why do I ask questions. Number one is to gain knowledge and understanding. To gain knowledge and understanding. But how many know, I love this, my dad taught me this at a very young age, what you know is keeping you from knowing what you need to know. So how many know the questions you ask will help you gain knowledge and gain curiosity. I want you to gain the curiosity that you have. And I love this. There's a thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you ever heard of that? The Dunning-Kruger effect? And everyone's looking at me going, oh, Jesus, where's he going with this? It's awesome. But I love this, and it's a cognitive something that goes on with your brain, and I love this. And how many know, have you ever had those arrogant, cocky friends that just think they're way better than they are? Have you ever had those friends? And if your friend didn't pop up in your brain, that means you're that person. That was for you, Greg, just so you know. But how many of you know you have those people in your life that think they're, when you ask them a question, say, hey, on the scale, where do you rank yourself as having the amazing abilities to do stuff? They're like, oh, I'm a 9 or a 10, right? But how do you know sometimes their ignorance doesn't know that the scale goes to 100? So people think they rank the 1 to 10, but it's really 1 to 100. Where do you rank yourself? Now, how many of you know the more humble you are, the more ability you are to grow? I love this. The ability to ask questions reflect your willingness to grow. I love this. Leaders who don't listen will eventually be around people who have nothing to say. Be curious. Number 2 is to develop a deeper and stronger relationship. The reason you ask questions is to develop a deeper and stronger relationship. How many of you have friendships in your life, and you have that one friend that whenever you ask a question can tell you everything you need to know about what you asked them, right? But they've never taken the time to sit down and ask questions back. Now, I'll give you a prime example of that. I remember I love my father so much, and he's an amazing leader, an amazing question asker. And he's done so many amazing things over his life. And one of the things is, back where we're from originally, he had this amazing recording studio. Floating floors, it was insane, this recording studio. And one day we were flying, and my mom tells the story, and he got set down next to this guy, and my dad asked him what he did. And the guy was telling him he was recording studio engineer from Nashville, and he was telling him about this whole thing. And my dad, the whole time, was just asking him questions to gain knowledge. And it was so cool. And he got off the plane, and my mom went to him and said, honey, I don't understand. You have everything that he told you. You know all about that. Why were you asking questions instead of telling him what you knew? He said, honey, it wasn't my time to shine. It was my time to learn. I love the quote my dad told me one time. It says, when you know everything, it's when you truly need to learn everything again. Never stop learning and never stop asking questions. I love this. People feel heard and feel valued when you ask them questions, but more importantly, when you take the time to listen. Now, I want you to ask you a question. Are you more of a talker or are you more of a listener? It's so important to learn how to listen when you ask questions. Number 3 is to help grow and gain insight. When you ask questions, it's to help grow and to gain insight. The greatest questions you can ask, I know I said this, it's so funny, a few months ago I said this, and it's so true, is that there's sometimes a stupid question unasked is a stupid question. I encourage you to ask questions. And how many of you know sometimes a question can lead you to something you didn't know you needed to know? It's huge. And a couple months ago, I did a leadership talk about questions, another leadership talk I did. And I was looking back at my notes for that talk, and there's something that stood out. And, have you ever looked back at something and you realized how important it was until you read it down the road? And you went through something. My dad always said you're going into something, you're coming out of something, and you're in the middle of something. And I love this. And it says, focus on how and why questions and not the no and say questions. When I was younger, my mom would tell you I was a person that asked questions all the time. And as I grew, I realized I needed to learn how to ask the right questions and not the wrong questions. It was so true. And I love this. Something that is 50% defined is 50% solved. So the questions you ask can help define what you're going through. It's huge. But have you ever heard of a lady named Mother Teresa? Oh yeah. If you haven't heard of her, I encourage you to look her up. I've heard she's a big deal. I don't know. Even though she was shorter than me, she was a big deal. But I love what she said. It says some people come into your life as a blessing, and some people come into your life as a lesson. It's all on the perspective that you have of the season you're in and the questions you ask of the season you're going through. But asking questions is one of the most valuable things you can ever do in your life. And I remember as a young kid, I used to annoy the snot out of my sister and my mom because my favorite question as a kid was that breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I couldn't remember. A lot of you that's still sitting it now, you're like, oh, wait, that's funny, actually. But how many of you know defining questions change everything? But I'm so happy. Again, I'm not going to be long, but I am so happy that my sister is here tonight because the annoying questions that I'm sure I've asked her over the years. But I'm so proud of her because, again, I'm keeping this real short and I condensed a lot of stuff, but I'm so proud of her because the questions that she's asked and I've witnessed over the years is so amazing because how many of you know when somebody else asks questions, you get to learn from the questions they ask? And I am very proud of the person that she's become because her asking my father questions and my mother questions and sometimes occasionally asking me a question even though she didn't want to. You can ask her about that another time. That's fun. But I am forever proud of her because I have grown so much watching her go through the season that she's gone through in the last however many years, and I am forever proud of her. Yeah. I'm sorry. What can you say about somebody that's your best friend, right? Even though that she'll probably deny that. She's like, psst, you're not my best friend. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But I'm grateful for her because she has put up with so much of my weirdness in the sense of I'm a huge nerd at heart. I'll just say that. And I am grateful for her putting up with my weirdness, but I'm also grateful for her putting up with my ability to grow in seasons that I didn't know I needed to grow. And she's pushed me over the edge so many times, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the tough questions that she's placed in my life for me to get perspectives I didn't know I needed. But I really am excited for you to hear from her. Are y'all excited to hear from her? Okay. Well, without further ado, will you please help welcome the person that is most annoying in my life, my sister, Brika.
Come on, Blake Goad. Oh, thank you. You gonna leave this to me? Wow, so many nice things said, and then you just ended it with a banger, didn't you? No, you're the best. He is the most talented goad I have ever met, the most gifted, and I'm so proud of you. You do keep life interesting, and I'm grateful for that. Hey, you need those people in your life, don't you? Like, life can get boring without it, so I love you so much. But I am so honored to be here. PT texted me at, I don't know what time, and he was like, you got anything on your heart? And typically that means get something on your heart. Yeah, not, oh, Dia. So in my head, I just heard the Lord, he said, he's not asking, he's telling. And I'm like, amen. Okay, I said I would love to get something on my heart. And so anyway, I am going to dive in, and I want to say this, that just because my last name's Go doesn't mean that this comes easy, or it means that I should be given this. I pray that I earn this every single day, and I fail many, many times to reach the level that this honor comes with, but I'm grateful for a Father of grace. Anybody grateful for people that have grace in your life? Like, I need grace every single day. And so, anyway, all that to say is that I'm an imperfect person talking to a room of imperfect people daily trying to do better. Amen? Amen. And so, tonight we're just going to dive in. I walked in and my dad goes, "What you speaking on?" And I told him. He goes, "Ooh, we going deep." And I was like, "Do I need to change this? Like, I don't know." But tonight I just want to ask the question: am I leading from a place of insecurity? Am I leading from a place of insecurity? How many of y'all know that leaders that are insecure are dangerous? It's a dangerous space to lead from. It's a dangerous space to create something from, because what happens is through that, everything that you're insecure about attaches to what you've been building. So it's a really hard place to be. And I don't know if you've ever come in contact with an insecure leader, but it's really hard. How about this? Have you ever been under an insecure leader? That's even more difficult. And it's really hard. You know, I as you know, I'm a worship leader, and I've realized that if I'm an insecure worship leader and I'm leading from a place of insecurity, the room is going to feel insecure. And so what that tells me is everything in my life, when I lead, when I love, when I give, when I serve out of my insecurity, people are going to feel it, they're going to sense it, they're going to know it, and it's going to affect those around me. I've been in rooms where people are leading from the platform out of their insecurity, and you can just sense that the question is in the room of, where are you taking me? Where am I going? You know, as a leader, you've been given the privilege to say, "Hey, follow me." That's really what leadership is. It's saying, "Hey, follow me." But if I'm insecure in it, your sheep, the people that you're leading, your team, they're going to question, where are you even taking me? And so what happens is it creates disunity because you don't know where to step in. You don't know what to trust. And so for me, in a perspective of worship leading, if I'm leading out of an insecurity, which typically when you're leading out of insecurity, it's a constant proving session. I'm here to prove, I'm here to prove, I'm here to prove, then it becomes about me. So if someone's over singing, they're trying to prove. But the power of remembering, proving, is not the point. It's purpose. It's asking yourself, why am I here? When I come on this platform, I'm like, "God, I'm not here to prove who I am. My purpose is to show who you are. So why am I here?" You see, my insecurity maybe didn't go away, but I've switched from where I'm leading from. Where are you leading from this place? Most insecurity, what is it really represented as? It's false humility. A lot of times it's actually really hard to see because it's, "Oh, no, it's not me." And you're like, I think you think it is you. So it actually can be hard to identify because we see this leader and we're like, wow, they've got it going. They've got it going on. And behind the scenes, behind the curtains, they don't know who they are. They don't know what their purpose is. They don't know. Someone's never said, "You're never going to be it," but someone through you to help you, to help you, mentor you, can get you to a space, but they're just trying to do everything on their own. So it's this constant proving and proving and proving and proving. So I just wanted to go over a few things of like, how do I know that I'm leading from a place of insecurity? You know, because sometimes we don't. We don't know that this is an issue in our lives. And so one thing is, you know, I must know everything about everything. You ever approached one of those people and you're like, "Hey, I got a question," or maybe you're in a conversation, you're like, "Oh, like I was learning about this." You're like, "Oh yeah, I know. And you're like, "Okay, like what do you know about it?" And they're like, "Well, and I'm like, I don't think you do know. You know, one of the most powerful things my father's taught me is he gets questions after questions, these questions that Blake was talking about. My dad is probably the number one person he gets asked questions to because he's a man of wisdom and a man of knowledge, but he's not too high to say, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But we can search for it together. We can find out together. The fact that he could admit that he doesn't know everything. That's a leader. That's saying, I don't know it all. I don't got it all, but I'm on this journey of figuring it out. Doesn't that give you security? When someone says, I actually don't know. The amount of things I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really don't. Like, you tell me when you find the answer. Because I don't know everything. But it's power in acknowledging that. But so many leaders lead from this place of, I know it all, I am it all. And it's insecurity. Number 2 is, I must be the one and always be leading in front. It's just the person that's always saying. Anybody know those people that like don't do the work, but then they show up for the photo? Those are my favorite. I'm like, come on in right in the middle. And everybody just point at them, like they did it. But so many people are like that. And honestly, it's because they're afraid to fail in doing the work, that they just fill themselves up with the credit and the attention at the end. It somehow does something. I loved this. It says, if you want to build a ministry that endures, don't build it around someone who will die. So what is it saying? If you want to build a team that endures, don't build it around one singular person. Don't build it around just one personality. Don't build it around just one single gift. What it's saying is build it around a culture that anyone can walk into and succeed in. That's not about one person's success, that it's not about one person's name, but it's about look what they're doing. But an insecure leader will always make sure their name is at the end of it, that their name is at the beginning of it. It's replacing something in their lives that they never got fixed. Number 3 is I must prove myself constantly. You ever been around those people? I was just talking about it. Like it's just constant proving. I just want to grab their hands and be like, hey, it's okay. You don't have to prove every single time. I actually admire when you don't know it all, when you can't do it all. People admire your strengths, but they resonate with your weaknesses. Anybody grateful when people speak about their failures and their mistakes and their weaknesses? Because we've all got them. I believe in a Father that uses our weaknesses and our failures and our mistakes. But insecure leaders, they hide them and they just promote themselves, honestly, on false circumstances. It's constant proving. Well, my serving actually becomes proving. It doesn't actually serve. Oh, well, let me do that. I got it. Hey, did you see what I did? It's not serving at the end of the day. It's proving. It's proving, constantly proving. Insecurity leads us to some of our greatest mistakes, not because we make the mistake, but because we always defend it instead of learning from it. We act out of our insecurity, and it often brings some of the greatest mistakes in our lives, whether it's relationships, whether it's our team, whether it's our family, whether it's at my job, whatever it is, and this mistake happens, and instead of learning, we defend it, and that's still our insecurity speaking. We've never actually learned from the mistake, so the mistake can't benefit us because we're not perceiving it the way we should. Does that make sense? Number 4 is my followers' success is a threat to me. You ever just been like really jealous of somebody else's success? I have. I've had to deal with it in my own heart. God, I wanted that. That should be me. And it begins to become a threat, and without you knowing, now you're living in competition instead of living in unity. My life has now become a competition with leaders instead of celebrating what something's happened in their life and what is happening in my life. Now it's who can do better, who can be better, who can prove better, who can lead better, and that's never the case. It says great leaders don't build great platforms or great positions. They build great people and they create great purpose. It's not about positions. It's not about platforms. PT always says it. We love buildings. We love all those things. But the greatest honor is building people. People. Are you building people? Are you building a place for yourself? These are hard questions, I know, and trust me, I have to answer these all the time. I've been researching so much of just leading from insecurity. God, I don't want to lead that way. And so it's figuring out what does that look like. And it may not be all these things. It may be one area in my life that I'm like, need to just tweak. Like, I need to change my perspective of this. I need to change my heart on this. But do I genuinely celebrate other people's success? Because secure leaders do. They're so secure in what their purpose is, what their calling is, what their design for their life is, that they don't have to get competitive. You know, good competition is good. I believe in it. It is, because iron sharpens iron. You need that competitiveness of like, hey, like, we got this. But when it becomes out of jealousy, out of spite, that's when it can get dangerous. So it's identifying, am I celebrating people's wins? Am I building them, or am I building a space for me? It says this: a leader's success is ultimately tied to the success of their followers. So not your success alone, not how great you do, but it's how great are the people behind you? How are they doing? Are they winning? You know, we had this conversation a while back, but how do you truly recognize if you're winning in life and winning as a leader, and it's really looking behind you and saying, the people that I'm leading, are they winning? Are they winning? Because if so, I am on the right path. I am doing something all right. I am leading from a place of security. But if the people behind me, if they're not growing, if I'm not expanding their territory, some people, they're not going to, and that's okay. You got to mark those off. Like, hey, I love you. I love you where you're at. But if everyone is not moving and leading, what are you marking your success as? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your success is tied to those behind you that are coming up. Because it's not about us. It's not about us at the end of the day. It's about this next generation coming up. Because one day we won't be here, and then who's going to lead then? That's the question that every single day we've got to ask ourselves. Number 5 is, I don't emphasize mission, vision, and values enough like I should. Insecure people are self-focused. Their needs end up trumping the needs of the organization. So it's revisiting daily. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose of I'm doing this? Is it for me, or is it for everyone? Is it for the benefit of others? Like, what is my purpose? I'm so grateful for my father, but this man lives mission, vision, and value. Like, he lives it. It is constantly on the forefront of his mind. When he makes a decision, he's not just making the decision based on what's in front of him. He's saying, what's my mission? What's my purpose? What's our values? Is this going to benefit those in the next generation, or is it just going to affect right now? Is it just going to affect me? Secure leaders, they don't just think of them, they think of the whole mission, the whole value. Secure leaders can focus on something bigger than themselves because they're over themselves. So good. Like, when you finally get over you, I know I'm not enough. I know it's not just me. I know I don't got it all going on. I'm over myself. I'm over the way I keep getting in the way, and it's finally over me, and it's saying they can focus on something far bigger because they've stopped focusing on just them. It's freeing. You can relieve it. You can throw it off like, I don't got to worry. I'm so self-focused. And it's like, no, like, it's about them. It's about you. It's about those in front of me, those people that I'm not seeing, the people that I need to see, the people that I need to spend more time with, the people that I need to pour time and life into. That's why I'm grateful. The one thing that I heard, and many of you knew Charles, and the one thing I kept on hearing is just the time this man took in people's lives that I had no clue. The people that he impacted because he just stopped. He stopped. He saw people. I've looked back and I'm like, Bree, the people you've missed because you've been so focused on you. You've been so focused on what's going on in your life that you miss what's going on. And it's way more beneficial. The purpose that it brings you to focus on others over you, I promise, is so good. It makes your life way better. Because I believe that's how Jesus intended it. He intended it to do that. I'm going to do this list, and it's like insecure leadership, secure. I'm just going back and forth, so follow me a little bit. I just want to list these down. But it says, insecure leadership, it alienates people in conflict. Secure leadership says it seeks people out in conflict. Insecure leadership says gets defensive in conflict. Secure leadership says it fights to know why in conflict. Find the reason why. How do we resolve this? Is there a solution? Not, let me defend it. It ain't my fault. It's your fault. Like, how is that going to solve anything? My dad always said, I take responsibility. Let's just find a solution. Let's move on. Let's keep on going. Who cares whose fault it is? We just got to find a solution. We got to keep on going. Insecure leadership protects position. Secure leadership pursues purpose. Insecure leadership creates narratives. Secure leadership faces the truth. Insecure leadership makes tough decisions to prove authority. Secure leadership makes tough decisions to protect what is right. Insecure defends policy over people. Secure leadership defends people over policy. Insecure, it's threatened by talented people. Secure leadership, it seeks talented people out. Insecure leadership, it creates cliques, but secure leadership creates a circle. Insecure, it develops into a dictator, but secure leadership develops levels of leadership. Insecure, just a few more. They lead by their title, but secure leadership leads by their example. Insecure, they make decisions based off image, but secure leadership, they make decisions based off vision. I love this one. Insecure leadership, they need acknowledgement first, but secure leadership gives acknowledgement first. And the last is creates an insecure culture, but secure leadership creates a secure culture. You can feel the difference in cultures when you walk into it. Is this a safe space for me? I believe a secure leader creates a space where you can make mistakes in a safe environment. Because how many of y'all know we're going to make mistakes, but I need a space, a safe space, so when I do make the mistake, there's grace for me to step up and still someone speaking to the person I'm called to be, not just what I'm acting like. So what are we creating? Are we creating this safe space? Are we creating this place of security? And ultimately, it's just asking ourselves the question, if I lead from security, I'll create a space of security. But if I lead out of my insecurity, it will create a space of insecurity. I don't know about you, when people walk into the space that maybe I'm responsible for, I want them to feel secure. I don't want any uneasiness. I want them to know that it's a safe space because I'm not leading out of my fear, oh no, I'm not enough. No, I'm leading out of an honest place of, I know I'm not enough. And we all have to get to that place. And I just want to say this. If you're wondering, like, well, Bree, that's all good, and I get the negatives, but what do I do for it? What's the remedy for insecurity? And I'm so glad you asked, because at the end of the day, you first have to acknowledge you even have insecurities. That's the ultimate thing, is people who lead from insecurity, they haven't even admitted, what do you mean? I'm good. I'm good. I've got it all. I'm good at it all. But the beginning of dealing with your insecurities is saying, yeah, that's a big issue for me. What does that ultimately lead to? And what does it take to even acknowledge it? And this is it. It takes humility. What's the remedy for insecurity? It's humility. Because the truth of it is we're all going to have insecurities, because we're never going to have it all. We're never going to be it all. But it's, how can I approach this? How can I respond from it differently? And my response has to come from humility, not from my insecurity. Hey, I don't got it all. My dad's the first to admit I've made mistakes. I haven't walked a perfect line. He apologizes when he does something wrong. How about that? Instead of just shoving it away. Everyone's on pins and needles walking around like we know that was wrong, but no one can say anything. Humility. Are you leading from a place of humility? It's laying down your pride. It's saying, hey, fear, I know you're there. That's where insecurity mainly comes from. Did you know? It's just my fear. I'll never be good at that. I'll never be good at that. Maybe you weren't ever encouraged in your weaknesses. Some of us, we have strengths, we have weaknesses, and oftentimes we just get so shot down by everything. I don't have anything to bring. And so it just creates everything insecure. The most people that act like they've got it all going on, someone never told them they actually have a gift. They actually have a purpose. What if I fail? What if? We learn. We grow. I don't want to follow a leader who hasn't failed, do you? That's not real. It's not true to life. Doesn't make sense, because I won't be able to relate. They won't be able to say, hey, I've been where you've been. Look where you can go. So it's how do I even act through humility? And I'm going to wrap up, because PT, he needs to be up here because he'll fix everything I've said. Praise the Lord. I get so nervous, you have no idea. I'm like, dear God, let this be of him. But all that I say is, like, how do I even walk out humility? And there's just simple ways. And number one is just acknowledge others' strengths. Just don't be so focused on you. Just acknowledge others' strengths. Hey, you're good at that. Hey, I saw you have this gift. The moment you take it off you, humility can step into your life. You see, I believe that if we don't make room for humility, God can't place humility in our lives. And that's just what I believe. Maybe that's not your belief, but I believe if I don't create the space for me to be less than, I'm always acting like this. And he's saying, I need you to serve. I need you to come down, and I need people to be seen. So it's acknowledge other strengths. Number two is admit not everything is about you. I'm sorry, but it's not. I know that's a hard truth, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. It isn't about you. And we have to admit that. And the moment we admit that, humility can step in. The insecurity can actually die down, because to me, it's freeing. The pressure when everything is about you? Woo! I don't want it. I'm like, oh my word, no. If you think about what it truly is, when everything would be about you, that means you got to do everything. The freedom of, hey, it's not about me. How cool is that? I can step into this humility. Number three is put others before yourself. Do you see the trend going on in this? It's honestly becoming selfless. Humility, it's this selfish position. It's, I'm telling you what, my mom is the image of this. I'm so grateful for this woman in my life that has lived out humility. Daily. She puts everyone above herself. Sometimes I'm like, to a point, I'm like, Mom, you got to stop. Like, take a moment for you. But the example that I've seen in my life of this woman who could be in the hardest season of her life, but she focuses on the person in front of her. Humility. Are you willing to lay it down? Are you willing to say, God, I need help in this? Number 4 is be a good listener. Again, I'm telling you what, the trend of this humility is just getting from this selfish position to this selfless place. Do you listen to people? Do you listen with your body? Do you listen with your eyes? Are you, yeah, oh, wow. Anybody want to, I don't want to talk to them. I just stop talking. I'm like, you know what? Catch you later. I'm good. You don't feel valued. You don't feel heard. Are you a good listener? Humility. Number 5 is be open to feedback. Woo. Who loves feedback? Oh, good. Doreen does. Praise God. Good for you. But it takes a while to get there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, yeah, tell me what I could do better. And I'm grateful because some of us, we've been under the wrong feedback. And what I mean by that is it's been said wrong to us. It's been in a demeaning way. And my dad's always said, nothing will ever good come out of me talking down to someone, only talking up to someone. My whole life, I say this all the time, my room is a mess. It's typically stays a mess. And my dad, he's the best. He doesn't say, get your room clean. I told you, when you go. He goes, hey, baby, thanks for keeping your room clean. I'm like, oh, he's speaking it into existence. I better go make it happen. But the power of that, what does it instantly make me want to do? Oh, I should clean my room. Not like, dang, I got reamed. He's always like, hey, thanks for being the leader I know you are. What does that instantly make you do? I want you to step into it. I can do that. It's feedback. Hey, I asked him this week, I need your help. How do I handle this? How do I walk in this? How do I step into this? What would be the right way to approach this? Because I don't know it all. I don't got it all. And humble people say, hey, I need help. How did I do? Where could I do better? Madeline today, she literally told me she was working her job, and she's a nanny, if you guys don't know that, and she kills it. But the kid was just having a little bit of a rough day, and she just took it, and she went and she said, what can I do to do better? Could I have done something different? You know the humility that took? She's been with kids her whole life. She's loved them her whole life. She knows. She probably knew, I couldn't do anything. It's just a kid. But she went anyway and said, hey, what could I do? That's humility. Can we do that? Sorry, I need to keep going, Dad. Number 6 is practice gratitude. You just got to be grateful. You know what I'm saying? Praise is the best way to getting out of you. I'm going to praise my way through it. I'm going to be grateful for what I've got. Humility. And the last one is take ownership of your mistakes. Don't defend them. Don't throw them away. Just take ownership of your mistakes. Watch what will happen when you walk in humility and not in insecurity. When you lead from a place of humility and not from a place of insecurity. Because your team, your family, your life, it'll all get better, I promise. Amen? Sorry, like I'm at church. Amen? Well, would you please welcome PT to come fix all of this?
Come on, you can
Love
do better
you.
than that. You were brilliant, baby. You were brilliant. So brilliant. I love it. Oh, my goodness. Look at your neighbor and say, I can't help it. I'm better looking than you are. I just can't help it. That's just the truth. If you're brand new tonight, welcome to G5 Leadership around the world. What a privilege. I'm so grateful that you took an hour of your life tonight to invest in sharpening your axe. And that's just incredible. Josh, thank you. You are the man. I appreciate it so much. And will you tell Josh thank you? He's always serving. So I'm just going to be very transparent with you tonight. I'm going to need your help giving this talk. Is that all right? Look at your neighbor and say, help him out. The man needs some help. Help him out. So I need some energy in this room, okay? I don't want to be speaking to the dead. I want to speak to the life and people that have a vision and a dream. And I'm so proud of you for that. I'm so proud of my kids. You got to know how proud I am. Mama G would be here tonight, but Mama G just discovered she had another kidney stone. So she's recovering from that, doing well. She's high on drugs. She's loving life. And so I'm just loving life. I can't wait to get home and meet her. I don't know who I'm going to run into. So will y'all pray for me tonight? Say, God, give him strength tonight. Give him strength. And so I'm ready to do that. We have so many leaders online around the world in every industry imaginable. And so tonight, I need your help talking to me. If I say something, go, yeah, that's right. Tell it. I mean, help me out tonight, okay? Can you do that? Look at your neighbor and say, help out. Yeah, you didn't come to observe. You came to be a part of this tonight, right? So I love it. Blake, way to go asking questions. I love questions. One of my mentors in my life was a guy named Bob Beal, and he kept continual files on just questions to ask. And so I learned that early in my life, and it was so beautiful. And I know if you're leading right now, you have questions. If you're leading right now, if you're not leading, you don't have questions. If you're not growing, if you're not developing, how many of you know all great blessings bring new challenges? Can I get a, yeah, that's right. And here's my goal for you is in is this 25? Yes. I don't know where I am most of the time. Can I just tell you, I asked my wife, I say, baby, you remember where we're going and I'll remember who we are and we'll have this down, you know. But can I tell you, I am just so excited and have such expectation that this year you're going to have bigger blessings than you've ever had in your life, and you're going to have bigger challenges than you could ever believe. Is it all right if I tell you that? And the greatest thing about it is blessings help you deal with the burdens. But every great blessing in your life, if your business is going to grow, if your marriage is going to grow, if your relationships are going to grow, if your marriage is going to grow, you're going to have challenges. I just want to speak to you for just a few minutes on failure and how to see it correctly. Failure and how to see it correctly. I think you'll agree with me on this. Everybody fails. Is that right? Look at your neighbor and say, I know you failed. I can tell you're a failure. I can tell it right now. I'm looking at a failure. Matter of fact, you need to say, I fail more than anybody. That's why I succeed more than anybody. Can I get a, yeah, that's right there. So everybody fails. I just need you to know that. If at first you don't succeed, you're running about average. That's what Anderson said, okay? And so I love it. Robert Schuller, really dear friend of mine through the years, they used our children's programming at their church, and it was powerful. He said, tough times never last, but tough people do. You got to get tough-minded, tough skin. How many of you want about 500 employees that are tough? They can take a blow. They can solve a problem. They can make a difference. They can lead, and they'll do the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way without you telling them they have to do it. Man, the brilliance. I was sitting there talking to Josh just for a second. I looked at him and I said, you know what? I love all of you all, but you have no idea what my children have had to go through. 180 nations, 88,000 children, 80 coliseums a year, dealing with people and learning leadership. I wished I would have had somebody in my life when I was in my 20s that it could have helped me get over me faster. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm going to challenge you right now, those of you that got some age on you, I'm going to encourage you to find a young person who has their act together and get them to mentor you. So many times we go to young people and we think we should tell them what to do. What I've learned is through the generations, I need to understand why you think and how you think, what's important to you. You realize right now that when a Gen X or a Gen Y shows up at work, the first 2 hours of their day, you've got to help them get over what's going on in their life. And one of the ways psychologists are finding out how to get these generations past what went wrong, what's not right, is asking them this one simple question. What is the thing at work that brings you the most joy? What brings you joy? Everybody fails. Number 2, nobody enjoys failure. Can I get a yeah? That's right. If you're a Christian, you can say amen. 2 of it. That ain't bad in a crowd this size. Number 3, everybody should learn how to fail forwards. Everybody should learn how to fail forwards. Don't try to hide failure. Don't let failure embarrass you. I went to my children 2 years ago, and they run everything around here now. Now, I'm very involved. I'm casting vision. I'm more excited than I've ever been. I feel like I'm 15 years old coming after my vision. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm having a blast doing it with my family. But I sat down with them, and I said, guys, I empower you to run this, and you better fail, because I fail. I made big mistakes. Matter of fact, in your company, if you reward failure, not stupidity, right? But if you're not failing, it means you're not attempting anything new that could bring millions of dollars back into the kitty. And if you keep doing the way it's always been done, I promise you, if you have a company, if you have an organization, everybody's going to come to you and go, well, this is how we used to do it. And I'm just not interested in it. I don't want to build tomorrow's future on yesterday's horse and buggy ideas. You know, Josh so wonderfully tonight told you about the protection of this environment. And let me tell you why that is. I coach about 50 industries. And they trust me with their people to bring them together. Never been done in the history of the industry. And there's nothing more important to me than the trust of a leader that I will create an environment that no one will ever transact them. But we will honor and respect and cherish. It's why I ask pastors, send your staff. I'll help them get better. If you have a company, send your employees. Don't try to do it all. Get somebody that can stand with you, walk with you, that has your heart, that has your values, that has your philosophy, and then stand with them. And I just need to tell you right now, everybody can learn how to fail forwards. You can teach your people how to fail forwards. And if you do that, here's what you're going to do. You're going to eliminate a lot of what Bree just talked about, which was so brilliant and so deep. When she told me today, I went, holy God. And when my son told me, Dad, I'm going to talk on questions, I went, oh my goodness. It's just off the charts. It gives you an unfair advantage. Because now you're starting to think like a leader, not a follower. And the success of your organization will not be on you creating followers. It will be able for you to duplicate the values and the vision and the mission and the power of who you are that separates you from everyone else. Why is it that one company goes out and they struggle to get $1 million worth of business and somebody else comes along and does 100 million? And just so you know tonight, most people that come to me for personal coaching do somewhere between 50 and 100 million, and they want to go to $1 billion. Or it's Microsoft that's doing 73 billion, and they're going, how do we double our revenue? What are you thinking about? The scale, is it from 1 to 10 or is it from 1 to 100? By the way, if you don't know your potential, you will waste your life on the little while the much suffers. So here's what you got to be looking at your life right now. How do I take what I'm doing and leverage it 10x? How do I take it from where it is? And I'm just telling you right now, you have got to allow failure to teach you, and I'll explain to you in a minute, failure is not a person, it's an event. So move on. Move on. My daughter tells you the story about I had 500 employees, 5,000 volunteers, and I walked into a meeting one day with all these executives, and they were fighting, spitting at each other, whose fault it was about something that had happened in the tsunami. And I'm standing there in the room, and finally I hit the table, and they all looked, and they were startled. And I just looked at them and said, with the most love I could find, I'm the one that's at fault. Now that we know whose fault it is, let's solve the problem. You'll be remembered for the problems you create or the problems you solve. How many of you have as many problem solvers as you need and want inside your organization? No. Think about the word excellence. Excellence. Can I ask you a question? Do you know what that means? What is excellence in your life? What is excellence in your thinking? What is excellent in what you do? Let me tell you something. You will fight for excellence like you don't have any idea how hard you'll fight for it. Do you know why? Because all of us tend to start high and wane down. And maintain that excellence all through your company, all through your organization, wherever you go, it's going to be crazy. I have a lot of young guys that I'm mentoring right now into companies, and right now they're just trying, honestly, to get enough business to go to pay their bills. And I'm going, I would encourage you to start thinking about how are you going to hire 10 people instead of thinking about how do I do just enough to pay my bills. How do we 10x your organization? If you don't grow, your people will never grow. Here at G5, guess who's got to grow more than anybody? Me. That's why I'm studying more, reading more, listening more, talking more, associating more. I'm doing the more than I need to do to get me in a different place. And if you're stuck, if you speak the same language you did 5 years ago, you're drowning. Yeah. You got to learn how to communicate at a whole new level. You got to learn how to help people at a whole new level. Anyhow, number 4, and I think you'll agree with me. Somebody, say it, somebody needs to teach others how to fail forwards. Let me ask you a question. If I watched you and I duplicated my life off of your thinking and you, where would that put me? Where would that put me? I had a mentor of mine. He had the largest network marketing company in the world, 2 million distributors. I helped him build it. He owned banks and hotels. And one day I walked up to him and I said, I just need to tell you, you've got me to the place that I'm really scared to fail around you. And I thought he would go, oh, bless your heart. I thought he would give me some love. He looked me in the eye and he goes, good. He said, I never want you to get comfortable with failure. I want you to get comfortable with success. Success is hard to survive. I know a lot of people that have survived failure. I don't know very many people that have survived success. And the difference between people that average versus those that have excellence is in the way you think. And it's being around an environment. So here's what I want to tell you as a leader tonight. You're here. I want you to write this down in big capital letters. If somebody pushes back on you because you're trying to reach greatness, don't try to change their mind. Replace them. Okay, that's going to save you a bunch. There's nothing worse than watching a house that's divided against itself. Have you ever seen it? There's no unity. There's no harmony. I got the idea. I'm going to run this thing. Versus a house that is in unity, in harmony, saying, how do we get better? How do we rise above it? So I just want to encourage you in your life to go, you know what? How do I get better? So I'm going to real quickly, key lessons that failure will teach you. I need you to say this right now to somebody. I'm a student. I'm a student. I need you to say to somebody else, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Most companies are trying to figure out how to get bigger. We're trying to figure out how to get better. Because if we get better, our customer will demand that we get bigger. All right. I stole that from Truett Cathy at Chick-fil-A. And I'll never forget, I was with Cavett Roberts. You may have never heard of Cavett Roberts. He's the founder of all the speakers bureaus. They sent him honestly to Arizona to die, and he got new life, and he and I got to speak together all over the world, and I just love being with him. I will never forget, I was at the pool in Tantera, Missouri, and I looked at him and I said, Kevin, where do you get all this stuff? He looked at me and he said, son, I don't want you ever forget what I'm about to tell you. I said, yes, sir. He said, everything I know, I steal. But I only steal from the best. Can I get an amen? I used to get in trouble in school for copying the A students. And they told me you shouldn't copy, but I figured out early, if you copy the right cat, it's worth it. Can I get an amen? Yeah, that's right. So find somebody that's winning. Find somebody who has power inside of them and get around them. Get near them. At first, let me tell you what they'll do. They'll irritate the mess out of you. You'll be like, oh, I just don't even like you. You ever get around positive people? Good morning. I'm like, dude, I need 5 energy drinks before I get around you, right? And I used to think that people that were excited and fired up and had great attitudes, I used to think they just made that way. Until one day I realized it was a choice. I get to choose my attitude. I get to choose my outlook. So, what does failure teach me? Resilience. Yeah, write it down, resilience. Building emotional strength to preserve yourself through difficulties. Number 2, it gives you a growth mindset. Viewing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Whatever you're facing right now that is trying to hold you back is actually the answer you need. Let me go a little bit farther with you and put it in the spiritual. The very thing that you think will destroy you is the very thing that will lead you to victory. The obstacle, wrote a book, the obstacle is always the answer. Find it. Number 3, strategic thinking. Analyze mistakes to avoid repeating them. Insecure people cannot analyze. They can't evaluate. And it costs them. The psychology of failure, how it affects you. Study that. Failure can trigger intense emotions like disappointment. I'm going to slow down so you can get this, okay? Failure can trigger intense emotions like disappointment, frustration, or even shame. Wow. The feelings are natural, and a part of the human experience. However, you respond to these emotions. How you respond to these emotions determine your ability to bounce back. Common emotional responses. Are you ready? Watch your employees. Watch your children. Watch people around you. Common emotional response. Self-doubt is the number one thing you'll see in people when they make a mistake or they fail. And you start questioning your ability and your potential. Beware of this. The next is fear of judgment. Worrying about how other people perceive your failure. You ever talk to somebody that no matter what you say to them, no matter what you tell them, they go, oh, I already knew that. And their self-esteem demands that they be right all the time. And it's a form of self-preservation driven by pride, thinking I will not be loved. Guilt is something you do. Shame is something you say you are. Completely two different things. The next thing is hopelessness, a feeling of overwhelmed, and you're tempted to give up. Look out for these things. Strategies to regain balance when you're in this situation. Are you ready? Okay, I know I'm giving you a lot. Seek perspective. There are two things in failure that when you follow people, you see people that recover quickly, have a different perspective and they take responsibility quicker. And they will even take responsibility when it's not their fault. This is massive, leaders. When it's not even your fault, you still take responsibility for it. Seek perspective. Reflect on a bigger picture. And remember that one failure doesn't define your entire journey. This is why your vision and your mission and your values are so critical. A vision is what you're going to do. A mission is how you're going to accomplish it. Value says this is how we're going to treat each other and the process. We're getting ready to have a team meeting here for all of our servant leaders here. And servant leaders, I just want to beg you, I want you to own the philosophy and not only know it, more importantly, I want you to live it, because until it comes alive in the culture, it doesn't become alive at all. Knowledge in your head, even understanding in your head, does not get it done. It's when the example is lived. Loving people. How loving are you? How relational are you? See, most companies think relationships, they go, oh, that's foo-foo. That's the soft skills. No, please hear me right now. Leadership and relationship are always coincided, and relationship and revenue are important. If you can't get along, you won't have anybody go along. Zig Ziglar changed my life when I was 22 years old, when he looked me in the eye in the back room. And he said to me, if you'll help enough other people get what they want, you can have what you want. I'm so excited you're here tonight, because I believe that in the next 90 days in your life, if we stay together, and Josh is right, I charge a lot of money for this, but I can tell you right now, I got guys right now in this room, your billing charge for your hourly wage is $50 to $100 to $200 to $500,000. You can't even imagine that. Some of us. But I've got to value your time, and here's why. Are you ready? Because it's your life. And you can't get back what you just gave me. I gave you my life. You gave me your life. I want to walk with you. I want to talk with you. It's why, honestly, so many leaders, as they grow, they outgrow all their coaches. Because unless you've walked there, you don't understand it. I built an organization with 500 employees. We gave away $300 million a year in aid around the world, and I did that for 30 years. It's why I look so bad, but I just want you to know it taught me so much. And when I get in this space right here, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm speaking to hundreds of thousands of people, not this building. When you talk to your staff, talk to the future of your company, not the present situation that you're in. Speak life, speak up, speak hope, speak deliverance, and let them figure out how they're going to have their dreams coming true, because they connected their dream to your dream and your dream to their dream. Are we okay? We get this. It's going to be fun. Oh, my goodness, it's going to be fun. Where am I? Acknowledge your emotions, suppressing. Did I tell you that? Okay, let me tell it to you. Acknowledge your emotions, suppressing negative feelings can amplify them. Oh, this is big. You got to write that down. When you suppress it and put it down, people can get in your presence and feel it, even if you're not expressing it. You can feel fear, you can feel hate, you can feel all kinds of negative emotions. You can feel low self-esteem. Do you realize you can tell one person, hey, if you'll do this, it'll change your life? And one person will go, wow, thank you. And another person will get angry at you. I couldn't figure that out, and it's because everybody hears at the level of their self-esteem and self-worth. The next one is practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness, just as you would a friend facing a similar struggle. By the way, can I punch pause for a second here? This is where you and I, every time we come together, need to be finding the person that needs encouraged and encourage them. You need to be that person. So I don't remember your name right now. Please forgive me. You told me earlier. What is it? Say it one more time. Samantha. Samantha works at Publix. I can't wait to see, when my wife and I go in to see, to Publix, I can't wait to see Samantha. Matter of fact, I look for her. If she's not there, I'm disappointed. You know why? She's bubbly. She's like, ugh. And she told me her dad watches us on Ustream, and I didn't have him on tonight. I normally wear 2 chains, and so he calls me 2 chains instead of PT. But can I tell you, I can't wait to meet him. You know what I mean? Anybody that would rename me makes me feel good because I just rename everybody. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm telling you, you have no idea. That employee in your team that feels like they are the least probably is the biggest, because great big doors swing on little hinges in your life. So, common misconceptions about failure. Y'all doing okay? You doing okay if you are? Look at your neighbor and say, you need this desperately. I just want you to know that. Misconceptions of failure. These are important. Number 1, failure means I'm not good enough. Watch out for that. Watch out for that in your team. Watch out for that in your spouse. Watch out for that in your children. Watch out for that. Ever since our children were really, really tiny, now they're young adults, and they're blessing me, they're teaching me, they're pouring into me. I have let them know, I admire you for taking a risk. And don't you ever be afraid or ashamed of making a mistake or failing. Because failure is the greatest teacher on this planet. If you learn from it. If you learn from it. Many people equate failure with personal inadequacy. I've been around so many people. They're in my lab, 1 million people live. I just want you to know me. Within about 30 seconds of being in somebody's presence, I can tell what's going on inside of them. Now, don't let that weird you out. Okay? Our friends are here from Seattle, and they met us out by the front of the breezeway. And I just believe everybody in the world should be greeted the way you greet people. She was like, ah! I actually felt like somebody for about 3 seconds. Do you know what I'm talking about? But I mean, everybody needs that. Do you know why people buy dogs? Because dogs treat you like that. I do marriage conferences all the time. I tell people, if you treat your spouse like you treat your dog, the world would be a different place. Can I just get a, hey, that's right. Some of you wish your spouse was here tonight to hear that. You know what I'm talking about? But dogs are hilarious. You can kick them and they'll come back. It's the crate, not a cat. I feed that blame cat out there, G7. That's his name. I'm a little bitter. We got a great big alligator. I want to introduce him to him right now. I gave him a treat. I gave him fresh water. He just looked at me like, is that all you got? You ever have somebody like that on your team? Is that all you got? Do you know anybody, have you ever read the book 1 Minute Manager? Yes. Who's that by? You remember who is it by? He's my friend and I can't think of his name. I was with him one night in Palm Beach. He said, I'm telling you right now, he's 84 years old. He said, right now I'm ticked at my wife. I said, I'm like, should I even know this? You wrote the 1 Minute Manager. Why were you telling me this? He said, I washed the dishes and put them up last night. And she never said thank you. I'm going, that's my future. You imagine that? 87 years old and still wanting somebody to say, I appreciate you. How many times during your day do you text your spouse and the people on your team and say, I just want you to know you're on my heart. You matter to me. Miss Farmer, she has a lifetime in education and dealing with really helped our children in unbelievable ways. So grateful. And she's so gifted. And right now she has been heading up all of our children's stuff. And we just sit down with her the other day and ask her if she'd be willing to take on the biggest, baddest, most bodacious project with kids we've ever had. And that is children that have advantages because they've got a couple of disadvantages. I want to create a space here that parents can know around here that you can send your child here and we will understand them and equip a staff of people to give you a moment of rest. And we will teach and elevate them while they're with us. Is that a cool vision? That's just one little vision I got. Guess what else I want to do? I don't know where Edgar is. I want to build a bunch of men that can fix stuff. And single moms and people like Diva that just lost her husband, if she has a car or if she has something that needs to be fixed, hey, it's me. I had to call my buddy Sammer the Hammer zip tie today and say, hey, dude, my sprinklers don't work. He comes over and he takes video of it. And I'm like, you are just so smart. I can't do any of that stuff. All right, I'm so off track, it's ridiculous right now. Misconception number 2, failure is permanent. Some people see failure as a dead end rather than a detour. Train them. Reality, every failure is a temporary setback. History is full of stories where setbacks turn into comebacks. Matter of fact, I would tell you right now, if you're having a setback, it's because you're getting ready for a comeback, because all great explosions start with a countdown. Can I get a yeah? That's right there. Number 3, others don't fail. Other people don't fail. All right, we're going to go through these fast. Are you ready? Number 1, 10 practical tips to face failure with resilience. Are you ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready. Look at your neighbor and say, please take notes. I'm going to need it later. Will you tell me? The good news is because Spencer and Laura and Jaden are back there, this is being recorded tonight. So you can go and you can share it with your staff. You can share it with anybody you want to. Number 1, accept failure as a learning opportunity. I love those words. Accept failure as a learning opportunity. You're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting stronger. Acknowledge that failure happens and allows you to see it as a teacher. Reflect on what went wrong and how you can improve. Let me tell you a big value here at G5. Are you ready? We not only study success, we study failure. Because if I don't know what failure looks like, I'm probably going to repeat it. Just like if I don't study success, I won't know how to repeat that either. I would encourage you to do that. Self-awareness. Ask yourself, what should I do differently next time? I would encourage you to learn how to reframe. View failure as feedback, not a verdict. So number 1, accept failure as a learning. Number 2, practice emotional resilience. Building emotional strength helps you process the future constructively. Building emotional strength helps you process failure constructively. Wow. So I just encourage you. Maybe some of you need to take notes. Some of you may need to journal just a little. Hey, I felt this, and here's how I needed to deal with it. I felt this, and here's how I dealt with it incorrectly. Learn to teach people how to have awareness and evaluate themselves. Number 3, analyze the root cause. Understanding why you failed provides clarity and direction. I need to say that again. Understanding why you failed provides clarity and directions. Ask yourself this question. I would encourage you to get your staff to ask these questions. Was it the lack of preparation or an unrealistic expectation that caused the failure? I just need to tell you right now, guys, unmet expectations are one of the greatest sources of discouragement and depression you can ever imagine in your life. I did this, so I thought you would do this. I did this, so I thought it would turn out like this. Number 4, seek constructive feedback. Seek constructive feedback. Feedback is invaluable, but only if you know how to filter it. Feedback is the breakfast of champions, I promise you. So I want to encourage you right now to find a mentor. Find spots like this, places like this. I just need to tell you, May 2nd, 3rd, 4th. May 2nd, 3rd, 4th. May 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We're going to have the Premier Leadership Conference here, and it's going to be mind-boggling. And you won't believe the stories, and you won't believe the equipping that you'll get. My goal is that every one of your children will be a part of this. My son, since he was age 3, would walk in with me wherever I was speaking around the world, and he would sit on the front row with me and take in all the information. And it's amazing to watch your children take in information that they learn how to turn it into transformation. And all of a sudden, they start living and leading at a whole different level. Here's a big one. Are you ready? Separate helpful advice and distinguish how helpful advice is different than critical comments. Number 5, set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. Rebuilding confidence starts with setting achievable targets. Anytime you have a failure, reset your target. Don't waste 1 minute beating yourself up. Take that energy and focus it on your next great attack. This is what I'm going to do. Number 6, surround yourself with supportive people. Lean on friends, family, and colleagues who encourage you. Positive influence. Do you know how many people really honestly wish they were in this room tonight that are not, and they don't even know they need to be here? But they have no idea the energy and the equipping and the empowering and the enlargement it would do inside of their souls. It's incredible. What I love around here at G5, and I hope you're able to come and meet with us every month, but can I tell you what I love is watching how people are growing and stretching and becoming and overcoming at a level that most people never thought was even possible. Matter of fact, so much that a lot of you, your families are going, I never knew you had that in you. Can I tell you the most powerful words in the human language is, I believe in you. And how powerful it is, it also can scare the mess out of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? To have somebody believe in you. So positive influence, a strong support system can lift you up during tough times. Number 7, cultivate a growth mindset. Adopt the belief that abilities and intelligence can improve with effort. I want to encourage you to become a reader because leaders are readers. And I believe if you stop reading, there's a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. I would encourage you to read it. I would encourage you to read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I would encourage you to read a book by Simon Sinek called Starting with Why. I would encourage you to read another book called by Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. You won't believe the information that will come inside of you. It's amazing what reading does in your life. When you grow your mind, everything around you grows. I promise you, my goal for you is in 6 months from now, you see yourself in the mirror and go, I cannot believe the person that I have become. It's not that who you are is bad. It's just there's way more to you than you could ever imagine. And as iron sharpens iron, people sharpen people. Number 8, focus on your strengths. Identify what you excel at and leverage it. Most people try to increase their weaknesses. You can only increase your weaknesses little. But your strengths, it's almost infinite what you can do. Find out your strength and get in it and stay in it. And realize you can't be everything and you can't do everything. Number 9, take proactive steps towards improvement. Action beats stagnation after failure. Action beats stagnation after failure. Step into it. Number 10, celebrate small wins. Celebrate small wins. Celebrate small wins. Recognize even when minor achievements, recognize them to maintain motivation. You're wired to be encouraged. You're wired to be recognized. You're wired inside of you to be celebrated. And I will tell you, the most successful companies in the world and the most successful people in the world learn how to reward small accomplishments. I have a friend of mine. He lost one of his employees to a $6 billion company. And he asked her, he said, can you tell me after 1 month, what makes this company so different? Listen to what she said. They celebrate everything, and they reward the little things. Wow. Isn't it amazing that you're wired for that recognition and celebration, and you're wired for that reward? You did well. So I just want to tell you how proud I am of you being here tonight. I hope you'll, if you want more of this, you can go on our app. It's on our G5 app. You can just go and get it and take all the information. You can share it with others. We have locker room for you men that is just life-changing. What is Girl Talk? Sorry, I got stuck in what it used to be called. It's called Girl Talk. It's just amazing to watch how it's growing and what God's doing. If you are looking for a place to worship, we'd love to have you. The culture here is just sick. It's just sick. I promise you, you will never feel more loved and acknowledged and cared for. We have one simple thing that we do here is from the parking lot to this building and outside in all of our services, we have a thing we want you to be touched 5 times. It's so good to have you, so good to have you, so good to have you. Welcome. Is there anything we can do? And our team here is just beyond amazing. They're bodacious. They're out of control. They actually love people. They actually live what they say. It's really, really kind of cool. Josh, do I have anything else I need to do here? Are we good? All right. Can I pray for you all and then we'll get out of here? Is that all right? If it's okay if I pray for you? Father, thank you for these leaders. Thank you for their vision. Thank you for their mission. Thank you for their purpose. Thank you for their talent. Thank you for their gift. And Lord, I just pray that if any of us right now are in that battle where we feel like we're struggling and we feel like we're being set back and that maybe failure has set in, Lord, I just pray that we'll take these principles tonight, apply them, and let you be glorified. In your name I pray. Amen, amen, amen. I love you guys. So good to have you tonight. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Bob.
I was searching for something